Welcome back to Road TRIpVIA. Today is episode number 383, and the category was an audience suggestion from Max Smith. He wanted to do 20 questions on human brain trivia. So coming up will be 20 tough questions about how the brain works, what the brain's made of, and the different parts of the brain. Thank you, Max, for that suggestion, and good luck on today's quiz. Question 1. The brain is the central organ of what major system inside the human body that controls most bodily functions, including awareness, movements, sensations, thoughts, speech, and memory? The answer is the central nervous system. Question 2. What condition is defined as a buildup of fluid in the brain where the excess fluid puts pressure on the brain, which can damage it and if left untreated, can be fatal? That condition is called hydrocephalus. Question 3. Located in the frontal lobe, what is the part of the brain that is primarily responsible for the production of speech? The answer is Broca's area. Question 4. What is the name of the small structure within the brain located just above the brainstem between the cerebral cortex and the midbrain that the main function is to relay motor and sensory signals to the cerebral cortex? The answer is the thalamus. Question 5. Often affecting people from birth and is usually a problem for the person for most or all of their life, what is the name of the cognitive disorder, also known as face blindness, where the sufferer cannot recognize people's faces? The answer is prosopagnosia. Okay, this next one will be a little easier. Question 6. According to Bobby Boucher's professor in 1998's The Water Boy, what part of an alligator's brain is enlarged, causing it to act so aggressive, even though that is not what Bobby's mama said? The answer is the medulla oblongata. Question 7. What part of the brain's primary purpose is to provide a pathway for cerebrospinal fluid inside the brain, allowing it to flow between the third ventricle and the fourth ventricle? The answer is the cerebral aqueduct. Question 8. The pituitary controls the function of most endocrine glands and is therefore sometimes called the master gland. In turn, the pituitary is controlled in large by what part of the brain that lies just above the pituitary? The answer is the hypothalamus. Question 9. far more numerous than neurons and, unlike neurons, are capable of mitosis, what type of cells do not conduct nerve impulses but instead support, nourish, and protect the neurons? Those are called glial or neuroglial cells. Question 10. The most common form of senile dementia, what is the name for the irreversible progressive brain disorder that slowly destroys memory and thinking skills and eventually the ability to carry out the simplest tasks? The answer is Alzheimer's disease. Question 11. Each one providing a different service to the brain and body, how many lobes does each side of the brain contain? The answer is 4. Question 12. What is the name for the primary functional working unit of the brain, a specialized cell using electrical impulses and chemical signals to transmit information to other nerve cells, muscles, or gland cells? The answer is just a neuron. Question 13. Which side of the brain is responsible for controlling the right side of the body and for performing tasks that have to do with logic, such as science and mathematics? The answer is the left side. Question 14. Which lobe is located in the back portion of the brain and is associated with interpreting visual stimuli and information and contains the primary visual cortex, which receives and interprets information from the retinas of the eyes? The answer is the occipital lobe. Question 15. What is the surgical procedure called that involves disabling communication between the two halves of the brain and preventing seizures from spreading from one side to the other? That is called a corpus callosotomy. Question 16. The largest section of the brain, what part contains the major lobes and is responsible for receiving and giving meaning to information from the sense organs, as well as controlling the body? The answer is the cerebrum. Question 17. Also known as the cranial nerve number 5, what is the name of the most important cranial nerve involved in facial sensation and innervating the muscles of mastication, which allows us to chew food? The answer is the trigeminal nerve. Question 18. Together, the midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata help to regulate breathing, heart rate, blood pressure, and several other important functions. What is the collective name for these three components? Together, those three make up the brain stem. Question 19. The lower lobe of the cortex, sitting close to ear level within the skull, what brain lobe is largely responsible for creating and preserving both conscious and long-term memory? The answer is the temporal lobe. And question 20. Responsible for our sense of smell, what sensory system involves the detection and identification of molecules in the air by sensory organs, then sends nerve signals to the brain where the signals are processed? The sense of smell comes from the olfactory system. Alright, that is not it for the day. You heard me correct. Starting today, we are going to start doing a tiebreaker at the very end of the video, a question number 21. It will be a full red question. We won't even put it up on the screen. We will read one last question, give you the answer, and if there was a tie in the first 20 questions with whoever you were playing with, you can always wait around to the end and answer the 21st question. So now there's an odd number of questions, and if by chance the game ended at 10-10, you will have the chance for one last tie-breaking question. Like I said, you don't have to stick around to the end. If you want to, I think we're going to start doing it on all the videos. Question number 21 will come right before the end. So after I ramble on about what's coming up next, by the way, this week we'll have a new TRIpVIA trivia and a new Brainy Tuesday, which will be another hard quiz. Tomorrow we're going to continue with the Plant Nerds request of country music trivia. Tomorrow's category will be country music trivia from the 1980s and 1990s. So, thank you for watching today, and finally, here is question 21, the tiebreaker. What is another name for the medical term sphenopalatine ganglioneuralgia that occurs when you eat or drink something that's too cold and it chills the blood vessels and arteries in the very back of the throat, including the ones that take blood to your brain? What is another name for the medical term sphenopalatine ganglioneuralgia? 5, 4, 3, 2. The answer is a brain freeze. Thank you for playing. See you tomorrow.